And we're live. We're live at 11 with Billy W. Merritt. Every day at 11, Monday through Friday, I'm bringing you a live show. Today is Make Money Monday. I'm sorry, that's the wrong name. The Monday Morning Money Show. And I'm just going to jump right in and tell you something. Today, I have a financial expert, an advisor, a guru, a money coach, an entrepreneur, a fund manager, and an investment strategist. I think you already know who it is. Russ Story. Are we live? Are we good? Is everything good? Is our guest ready? Okay, no problem. Here's the deal. Every day, we're going to bring you Live at 11 with Billy Merritt. This is our sixth. This is show number 6. Every Monday, we're going to bring you a money show. Every Tuesday, we're going to bring you a sales show. Tomorrow, I have a special announcement on that. Wednesday, with April Merritt, Winning Together. It's a couple show. That's pretty cool. And on Thursday, we have Caleb Wilson with the Digital Dealer Academy, the Digi Ninja Dealer Academy. Friday's Feel Good Friday with Paul Sullivan. Can't wait for that show again. He lets me dress down. So today I got all excited and said it felt so good on Friday that I'm going to do it again. While we're waiting on, now my screen says we're going live in 2 minutes and 13 seconds because we had it scheduled. Are we actually live? Do we see anybody that's watching us? I think we are. We have some guests. If you're watching, can you give me a thumbs up? Let me know. Can you give me a thumbs up? I see some dinging over there. Hey, my buddy Ken Walls is going live on his show. I just got a notification for that. That's no good. Are we? Do we have our guest ready yet? Okay, so we're waiting on a link. So here's the deal. I'm going to tell you about something that is near and dear to my heart when it comes to money, and that's taxes. Man, oh man, am I ready to get Russ on here to find out some in-depth strategies to get rid of some taxes. I'm certain that he can help us with that. I want to recap last Tuesday's show when we actually talked about sales strategies and psychology and how you can put psychology into sales. And it starts by putting your attention on what the customer wants and not what you or management wants. So that is exactly what Digi Ninja is. You see, I'm wearing Digi Ninja. Let me tell you what Digi Ninja is. Digi Ninja is the most effective software product in the entire auto industry. What we do is we have built a CRM. It's a software product. It's a cloud-based software product where dealerships receive all of their leads from all their third-party resources, all their third-party leads, rather. Every lead that comes in through Facebook, Instagram, every lead that comes in, period, that filters to Digi Ninja. And guess what? Customers would rather deal with a real person than a robot. So we have actual Digi Ninja operators who answer those leads in real time, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. in every single time zone. We've worked with thousands of dealers across the country, and we're implementing our software into all these dealers' day-to-day practices. And we're growing. We're the fastest growing. We have no guest? Okay. Hey, here's the deal. Caleb Wilson is asking for some swag. So if you'd like one of these shirts, just let me know. While we're waiting on the producers, who, by the way, it's time for them to make a little hiccup because they've been doing a fantastic job so far. This show has been, we put it together very, very fast. So let me talk to you about something that I'm an expert at. And it's actually helped me make some money since this is the Monday Morning Money Show. I'm going to tell you, is Russ there? Russ is available. So, okay, great. Bring him on the screen and let me introduce him one more time so he can hear what I've been telling him. Can I see him on the screen? Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, I got to recap what I've been telling these people. You know, Mondays, I have a money show, a Monday morning money show. So it's very important that I have an expert on here. that I have somebody that knows way more than me. So I'm going to give them a description of who you are, and then I'm going to ask you to tell me if I'm accurate, because I know that you are a financial expert. You're an advisor. You're a guru. You're a money coach. You're an entrepreneur. You're a funds manager, and you're an investment strategist. What did I leave out, Russ?
That pretty well covers it, Billy. I mean, we do all those things. My favorite cap is my Ninja cap, but I wear a bunch of caps. So we do a lot of things for our clients. So yeah.
Okay, so now this is something that you have to have licenses for. I know you are a securities broker as well. Tell me about the credentials and what it takes to get. I mean, I can't just open up a door and call myself a financial advisor. So tell me, and by the way, guys, Russ is my financial coach. He's my investment strategist, and man, did I vet him well. Would you say that I gave you a pretty good vetting, Russ?
You did a pretty good job, Billy. Yeah, you checked me out pretty good. All right, I think it's great. Yeah. So yeah. What we try to do is help our clients solve tough financial problems, and taxes. You mentioned a while ago, taxes. That's certainly a big financial problem. I mean, it's probably the biggest expense we incur if we are able to make a little money. Taxes is something we work hard to try and help our clients minimize, and we've got different strategies, different systems in place to try and to help that.
Okay, so I definitely don't like paying taxes, and you worked on some things for me. So if you to keep it simple, and I totally agree, taxes are your number one expense. What's a easy, I shouldn't say easy, what's the simplest way and an effective way to start? Because it takes a plan and it's a strategy, but what do they need to start thinking about when it comes to reducing our biggest expense, which is taxes in business?
Well, one of the things we need to do is educate ourselves on the different opportunities that are out there. One of the things that a lot of folks fail to take advantage of, they fail to take advantage of the tax qualified programs that are available. A lot of times folks don't realize your employer probably has one of the best tax shelters available. Not everybody's employer has it, but if you have a 401k, or if you have a SEP, a different qualified retirement plan, anytime you're able to put money back in those qualified retirement plans, what you're doing in a sense is allowing the IRS to help you help yourself. In other words, if you put money in a qualified retirement plan, you say, well, boy, I really can't afford to put $100 extra into my retirement plan. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you're putting $100 into the plan, the IRS helps you, sometimes to the tune of 25, 35%, depending on what your payroll tax is, depending on what your tax rate is. So, if I told you, look, for every dollar you put into an investment plan, I'm going to put 35 cents. I'd match you all day long, every day. I mean, that's a good deal. Okay. And then if I told you you're not going to be taxed, that the interest is going to compound, you're going to get interest on interest. So the IRS is helping me out because, I'm not paying tax on the money that I contribute to this retirement plan. And not only that, my money's going to grow, and it's going to grow tax free during the period of time that I've got it in there. So there's some advantages there. So, I run into people all the time that say, well, golly, I'm paying too much in tax. But they work for a company that provides some type of retirement plan, and they're not contributing to it. I mean, some employers will actually match a little bit of what you put in. They'll throw in, you put in 3% of your earnings, they'll put in 3%. So you got a 100% return on your investment right away.
Yeah, that means
that, so for every dollar I put in, my actual take home pay is only going to be reduced by 70 cents, say, or whatever. I mean, that's a help as well. So I mean, first and foremost, I think we need to take advantage of the opportunities that are when they're given to us.
Mm-hmm. So if you're an employee who's company offers any type of matching contributions, you need to max that out immediately, regardless. You might think you can't afford it, but in reality, that's something you need to take advantage of because it's free money.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't want to leave any money on the table.
Right.
Life's too short and we work too hard. Take advantage of the opportunities and what's given to you. I mean, that's number one. Number two, if you're like Billy and I, we basically work for ourselves. I mean, we're entrepreneurs. We're out here. We have to create our own retirement program, but there's many available to a small business owner or a professional. You can go out here and if you get with the right guy, then he'll help set you up a retirement plan. One of the things that as a financial advisor I run into a lot is people say, well, Russ, how do I get started? What's the best way for me to start? Because, I'm making maybe a little money, I'm working hard, but when I look, how do I get started in this? Well, first thing you need to do is, and budgeting is great, I understand. We can sit down, put together a written financial plan. You can have this all put together. We charge a fee for that. But, you don't necessarily have to, in my opinion, you don't have to start with that. I mean, I think first and foremost, you need to pay yourself first. One of the things we've all been taught from the time we were in kindergarten is that, you need to pay your bills. And that's true. I understand that. We need to pay our bills. We got to pay the light bill. We got to pay the phone bill. We got to pay the bills when we owe people. But at the end of the day, you got to pay yourself first. If you don't pay yourself, there's nobody else gonna run up and pay you. So what I find for people who have been successful, and I've been doing this for 27 years now. Okay, I've been helping. I've seen folks start from zero, and now they can retire and hang out at the beach. Now, it's very gratifying to see my work pay off for my clients, and I've seen it from soup to nuts. I've seen it from you getting ready. Now I don't know about how long it's going to be before folks say, well, I mean, Billy and I, we're doing what we can. We're trying to be smart. We're trying to minimize our taxes, and we've got some strategies and some ways to do that. But you got to pay yourself first. What happens in budgeting is one thing, but if you pay yourself first and live on the balance, if you say, I'm gonna just like the government, okay? Say you get your paycheck and you get $1,000, and you say, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start taking whatever amount of money that I receive, and I'm gonna just play like I never received 10% of that. So every pay period now you're putting $100 back. Well, that's $100 you won't spend.
Right.
And once you get accustomed to that, maybe you can increase it to 150 out of 1,000. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes, and let me comment on that, please, because a lot of our viewers are young employees. So I think it's important that we take a minute here and explain to them, and even some of the older people, because here's one thing I know. Most people are not financially savvy, because most people, I'd have to go back and look at the information, but it's a tremendous amount of people who live paycheck to paycheck, and it's a tremendous amount of people who could not come up with $500 for an emergency. So that's you said we're taught from an early age to pay our bills. We better pay our bills, right? But what bad information, we get such bad information from people who really care about us, our parents, our teachers, our, people we look up to, but they really most of the time aren't qualified to give us financial advice. So, pay yourself first, people. That's what Russ is saying. You need to figure out what that means. You need to study that. You need to put money into some type of account or investment before pre-tax dollars is what he's saying. And then even post-tax, go ahead and make it a part of your plan every week or every paycheck to put some money aside, because here's what I want to get Russ to comment on is the time value of money and the power of compounding interest. I have a lot of young people, young employees watching. Please explain to them, and guys, please pay attention, the power of compounding interest and what that really is.
Well, it's amazing. Einstein was coming out of a symposium, and there was a bunch of nuclear scientists there back in, obviously Einstein, he was a genius, And one of the reporters, as he walked out, they said, "Hey, what would you say, Professor, is the most powerful force in the world?" And they expected him to say some comment about, nuclear fission. They expected him. He quickly turned around and he said, "Compound interest." Turned around and walked away. And the reality is, so many people don't realize how powerful compound interest can be. The fact is, it's a young man's game. Okay, I can't say that enough. And what I mean by that is, and time waits for no one. Okay, so with those two ideas in mind, those are truths. Okay, you need to try and put aside as much as you can as early as you can. And if you say, well, $50 isn't going to make that much difference, it makes an incredible difference. And waiting, well, you know what? I'm going to wait till I get this done, and then I'll start putting some money aside. I'm telling you, that's a recipe for failure. Okay. I'm telling you, it's a recipe for failure. You need to start putting in as much as you can as soon as you can. And I can show you the cost of waiting. I've got all these hypotheticals. I'll be glad to share them with you. If you want to send me an email, I can send you information. rstory@storywealth.com. rstory@storywealth.com. Send it to me. I'll be more than happy to send you. But, waiting 5 years, if you're 25 years old, I'm telling you, you need to get going now, because putting the same amount of money in, waiting 5 years, it is going to mean, half as much money probably at 60. I mean, it's incredible, the difference. And you think, oh, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to wait till I pay my truck off. Wait, listen, pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first. So if you have a little bit of debt, you got car payments, you got house payments, it's still important to put another payment in there, and that would be your financial freedom fund. Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair to say. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first.
I want to bring out something that Russ said right there, because it caught me. And when I hear something that means something, when I hear something significant, I want to make sure you don't miss it, people. And it doesn't matter how old you are. The best time to plant an oak tree is 50 years ago. The second best time is today. So if you're young, Russ said this is a young man's game. You'll be so far ahead of the game if you start now. And if you're young, you're going to have such an advantage over everyone else. Time waits for no man. And what Russ said, he said, you may think that $50 per week isn't significant, won't make a difference. But Russ, who is a wealth expert, says it's incredible. It's an incredible difference. And $50, man, we spend more than that on coffee. We spend more than that on bottled water in a month. We spend more money on almost anything. $50. I bought a pack of bacon and a water the other day. It was $10. My man's got a let me see this. Okay, we have a Monster Juice right here. How much was this? Almost $3. Okay, that's $90 a month. $90 a month. And my advisor said $50 a month, and increase it if you can. But the $50 per month or per period, any set amount regularly, is significant. He said it's incredible. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant there, Russ, but I just want to make sure they got that information.
That's the way it is. I mean, I can't, and you think, well, it's not going to make a difference, $50. And you're wrong. It is going to make a difference. If you'll put the money in there, let it compound over time. I gave a talk years ago at the University of Georgia at the business school there. And one of the things they asked me was, Russ, one of the questions I got, how do you get across the idea? Sometimes some of the stuff we do it can be a bit complicated, but, and I talked about, there was a man that worked for 4 presidents. He was an advisor for 4 presidents. His name was Bernard Baruch. You can look him up. He was a great financial mind a long time ago, but he served under 4 presidents, if I remember right. I think it was Kennedy, Eisenhower, Roosevelt, Truman, and he served those presidents as financial advisor, not only personally but also for concerning the fiscal policy of the country. He came in with the pay-as-you-go income tax. There's a lot of things that he did, but one of the things that he talked about, he wrote about the economic facts of life, and at the time, the government had a lot of data from the Department of Families, Children's Services. I can't remember what they called it at the time. It was something different, but anyway, it's kind of the same. It was that department basically. And what he found out was that when people are born into this world, about 3 of them maybe have been out of 100, excuse me, about 3 out of 100 have maybe, inherited enough money so that they can actually, survive before their age, 21. So at about 21, most of your, general earnings done, and people go to work. And he talked about this economic facts of life concerning the average American. And what he found was that people, will save a little bit and then they'll spend it. They'll save a little bit and then they'll spend it. When a guy goes to work, he's walking to work and he sees a shiny car, he gets him a car. But then he goes on and he does the things that he does. He asks a gal to marry him, perhaps. And, a lot of people kind of go through this same scenario over and over. It's not, we think we've got problems, but there's a lot of people that come before us. They've had the same issues, same problems. But what happens is we find that after so many years, when you're 65 years old or 60 and you're trying to figure out a way to retire, is that you've actually spent your savings instead of going ahead and putting together and paying yourself first. He found that after 70 years of life, that the average American is dependent on some either Social Security, government aid. We didn't have Social Security back then, but we were dependent on somebody else for their financial well-being. Only about 3 out of 100 were actually financially independent. So you mean to tell me that the average American, after working their entire lives, it's always going to get better tomorrow. It's always going to be different tomorrow. We're always, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to put money aside till later. And they wake up one day and their life has passed and they realize that they're broke. Bernard Baruch found that, after all these years, and it's a paradox in the world's richest nation, which we still are, that millions of people live in poverty. And it's just, I think, once you can grasp some of these concepts, you can wrap your head around them and understand the power of compound interest. Doesn't matter if you're 25, doesn't matter if you're 45. I mean, at 55, there's still things you can do. And, majority of my days spent helping people who have had the foresight, the insight of putting money aside and actually having some money to invest. Okay. Now that's my area of expertise. Is, one of the things I've been getting a lot, Billy, lately is, well, I wonder about the investing and stuff right now because we're in an election cycle and it's an election year. I mean, have you heard that kind of talked about around town, Billy? I mean,
Of course, man. And you helped me with my stuff. And guys, when I tell you, I've done a lot of research and I've studied Russ and I've listened to him. A lot of these questions I've asked him, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but you have tools and strategies to invest in things. And as they go up, you're making money. And as they go down, you're cutting your losses and you're still making money at times, So, I hear a lot of that. And that's why I wanted to bring you on here to let you explain to people that there are some very sophisticated tools and that you have a very sophisticated strategy of how to make money in any market. And I just want to, you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned people who end up broke. So that reminds me of something that I read. As you know, I read quite a bit, and I read this concept that was funny it's intriguing to me. It was a portion of what you earn is yours to keep, because so many people, they say, well, all the money's mine. No, it's not, because so many people work their entire life and someone else ends up with their money. So the quicker you can learn to get started investing and paying yourself, the sooner you'll realize that a portion of your money is yours to keep and you can actually hold on to it. So there's a difference between investing and spending. I know I said a lot there. Maybe you can break it down and simplify it for people.
Well, I think, you make a great point. I mean, the fact is, so many people, they think, well, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure, I don't know where to start. I can tell you where to start. Ask somebody who, I'm not the only financial advisor, around. So, find somebody, if not me, that you maybe have some confidence in, and sit down and talk to them and get their perspective on what's going on. And I'll tell you right now that I believe that we're in the middle right now, one of the largest transfers of wealth that this country's seen ever. Okay. And I think there's certainly one of the neat things that my clients like about doing business with us is the fact that we offer them ways to invest and make money that otherwise they don't have available to them. I mean, we're I've got clients from New York all the way to Miami. I'm not sure how many states we're in right now, but it's a lot. Okay, and we serve a lot of folks, not just in Douglas, Georgia. They're all over the place. So with technology, with things that but here's what I'm trying to get across. There's some real mega trends out here that are happening. Let's talk about them. Have we got a minute to talk about the bill?
We got all the time you want, man.
Well, one thing is that I think is and when you think about it, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure this one out. Okay. Online retail. I mean, Amazon and the online retailers have basically taken over brick and mortar. I think last year in 2019, online retail captured about 11% of all retail sales in the United States. You think that's going to get bigger? You think their portion of the pie is going to get bigger or smaller?
I would say bigger, Russ.
I'm going to guess bigger. Okay. So if you think that's happening and you know it's taking place, well, the question is, how do you capitalize on it? Well, we have what we think are some pretty sharp ways to get in and help our clients to get exposure to these type of investments. Okay. Here's another one. All right. So I won't get into the specifics too much right now, but what about 5G? Have you heard of 5G?
It's coming.
We're going through an incredible transition of technology here. We're going to have more and more gadgets, more and more functions, more and more things that we use every day that are going to be used by us. Okay. And it's going to all revolve around this 5G technology. It isn't maybe our cell phones are going to get more robust. That's not the deal. We're going to have more and more gadgets. We're going to have, GPS, robotics. You're going to be driving semi trucks. We're going to have an incredible change in technology and the way we all live and do business. This is coming. 5G is tremendous. These companies out here are investing trillions of dollars with a T. Okay, they're not doing that just because it's let's see what happens. This is happening. It's an evolution. So my clients can either participate in this, and what I mean by major transfer of wealth, I'm talking about, if you don't get on board and figure out a way to participate, invest in some of these technologies and some of these things that are what I call, just life-altering technologies, disruptive technologies. That's what Goldman Sachs, that's what they call it. You're going to be left behind. And you say, well, golly day, the rich keep getting richer. You have an opportunity and a way to participate in this revolutionary technology and in these things that are going to change our life. Look, the train's left the station. We know kind of what's coming here. So the best thing we can do is participate through, the other thing is you say, well, I'm going to invest in some real estate here locally. I'm going to buy a farm. I'm going to do this. That's great. But what we do here at Story Wealth Management Group is help our clients to participate in other real estate markets, doing other things in other places where maybe you have an opportunity for, maybe there's more growth. There's nothing wrong with having a piece of property in Nichols. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having, but do you think that people are moving to Willacoochee in droves? I love Willacoochee, nothing against Willacoochee, but we need to align our money in places where there's a definite growing positive demographic trend if we're going to invest in real estate. And these are, people aren't swapping real estate. They're not able to, look, there's people moving to Austin. So I kind of get excited about some of the things we have to offer, Billy. And I think that what we do here for my people, and my people are people from South Georgia or whatever, but again, we got clients all over the place, is give you an opportunity to do some things and invest in things that ordinarily you don't have the opportunity to do.
All right, great. I got a couple points I want to make. I want to bring a couple things out now. You're being very humble, and I appreciate that when you talk about your people being from Douglas. Listen, we are from South Georgia, but I know you and I know your clients, and you have a tremendous amount of clients in at least 14 states, and like you said, from Miami to New York and all over the Southeast, and you have some very sophisticated clients, and you manage a lot of money. You manage a tremendous amount of money for people. So don't think that Russ is talking to you, mentioning Nichols and Willacoochee, because that's where all of his clients are. I would venture to say most of your clients are probably from outside this area, but that's a different story. What you did say is just striking to me about 5G and about AI and I have a software company. I have a very sophisticated software company, and we use real people. We use a little bit of AI, but here's the thing. Some people are scared of AI. Some people are scared of 5G. I don't like it, but I can promise you one thing: I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to participate. I'm not. It's going to affect you. Is it fair to say, you're the expert? Is it fair for me to say to my people who are watching this that you're going to be affected by 5G? You're going to be affected by AI. You're going to be affected by driverless cars, and you can either complain about it, be scared of it, or you can participate and profit from it.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, these things are happening, whether we like it or not. I might not like it. I like things. I mean, I don't really like change. I mean, my personality, I kind of like going to the same place, eating the same thing. People tell you cow tippers. Every time I turn around, Russ is coming in about 1 o'clock because I get a salad, and they know what dressing I like. They know what I want to drink because I like to do it. But the reality of the situation is things are changing, and they will. They're going to continue to change. Think of the changes we've seen in our lifetime, Billy. Think of what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, I listened to a podcast the other day doing my walk, and it was some of the chief economic guys with Goldman Sachs, and I listened to the guys at Morgan Stanley. I listened to the firms, and they're talking about, they think in the next 10 years that there's going to be $3.5 million truck drivers are going to lose their job in the United States. Now, I hope and pray that if that's the case, there's a better job waiting on you. Okay. But I think to deny these changes in the economy, to think, well, I don't like change, so a change is going to go away. Well, life's all about change, and life's all about adopting the change. And so I'd encourage you, if you don't know where to start, if you don't like money in the bank drawing, 0.75%, okay. The problem with that is, and I'm all over the map here, the problem with money stuck back in something that doesn't grow is, number one, it's inorganic. You say, well, it's safe down there, Russ. And I understand. Well, we have safe investments as well. But the reality is, if the cost of things, groceries and gas and taxes, you think they're going to go down, they're going to go up. If you're getting 0.5% on your money and inflation's at 2, 3, or 4%, you're actually losing money. My clients don't come to me for investments that lose money. So there's alternatives out here. If not with me, sit down with somebody who is qualified. I'd encourage you to see a guy who's a registered investment advisor representative. We are, we're an investment firm. We're a full service investment banking brokerage firm. There's not really a lot that we can offer. And I think that's one of the reasons people do business with us. My clients are the greatest folks in the world. I appreciate my clients more than you can ever imagine. But I think we need to, and I'm asking you, if not with us, go sit down with somebody that can help you to participate in this massive amount of wealth transfer that's taking place right now, because it's going to leave us behind, folks, if we don't participate.
Yeah, I want to ride the wave with you, man. And I'm trying to get in more and more as I can every single pay period that I have. So, here's what Russ just said earlier, and I want to remind everybody. He said, so if you don't know where to start, because I promise you, if you're watching this, well, I'll say this: 97% of the people watching this need some advice, need an advisor. So sit down with somebody who knows. Okay, I recommend Russ, but find somebody that you trust that has already done what you want to do and that is savvy, not necessarily, probably not your parents, probably not your uncle, probably somebody that you know that's in business you need to track down because they're successful and say, hey, will you give me 5 minutes, or just go to a certified wealth advisor. Now, Russ, there's many things we can spend our money on or invest our money in. So there's two different things. Will you tell me in simple terms the difference between an asset and a liability, and if I need to know the difference, and how do I need to approach money when it comes to assets, liabilities?
Well, I think the question is, anytime you got a little money and you're about to buy something, then we can, what we think are assets sometimes can certainly be liabilities. We need to ask ourselves, the value of this going to go up? I've heard all kind of terms for it, guns and butter. We talk about there's all kind of ways to try and quantify things that are good assets and things that, there's certain things that are going to go up in value that are expensive. There's certain things that are going to go down in value that are expensive. So I think, when you decide to pay yourself first, the next question is, how do I do that? Well, we've got some strategies down here, and we think they work pretty doggone well. If you've got some money, you've inherited some, sold some timber, you got some capital. And I'm talking about two different things here. You can put money aside every pay period, every month. We can help you with that. You got money, you sold some timber, you sold some land, you've inherited some money, then we can help you with that. Okay, we can help put that to work. But, we've got a system that we believe will save you some money in taxes and save you money in fees. And we've got a system that we believe is going to make you money. I'm probably more excited about our systems right now than I have been in the last 25 years, Billy. I think my growth model, we have a process that we provide for our clients where we can, we actively manage that in a very disciplined way. We manage risk for our clients in a very disciplined way. So, we found that, I just feel like right now, your feelings will get you in trouble. Your emotions will get you in trouble. You got to quantify those and determine, okay, let's take a look at what works. And let's figure out what works. Well, if A works better than B, let's go with A. And we need to make adjustments along the way. And I've finally been able to put together some asset management tools to help our clients. And I'll be honest, I'll put it up against anybody. You can take $50 million out here and go sit down with the institutional guys at Goldman or Morgan Stanley, and I'd be willing to bet you that we're going to do you as good a job. And you don't have to have that amount of money to come down here and talk with us. Yeah, so
I totally agree. I mean, I've vetted and I've been researched, and I'm very impressed with what I've seen. So now we talked about the 97%. They need to just go sit down with someone and get started. I recommend giving Russ and his team a call. Now there is some educated people out here that hear all kind of buzzwords all the time. They're watching podcasts and listening to different people. So, Russ, you sound like a very strategic, well-planned, safe advisor. But what about the person looking for a cash flow producing investment? That's the buzzword these days, is cash flow's king, not necessarily cash is king. And who want, and if it doesn't produce cash or cash flow, it's not an asset. And I don't necessarily believe that. I'm just saying that's what's out there. So do you have strategies? Can you help someone who's looking for that cash flow investment?
Well, that's a good point, Billy. And I should have, what you were asking a while ago, a moment ago, an asset is either something that's generating income now or going to generate income in the future. And every investment that we're going to consider is either income now or income in the future. I mean, if you in the growth mode, you can reinvest the interest and dividends or whatever in the investment that you hold. That's, but there's also income investments. A lot of people don't look at it this way, but investments are sort of like a tool. It's like tools. I look at it like I got my toolbox. Okay, so if you've got a hammer and you've got a Phillips head screw and you want to get that in the wall, well, that hammer might do the job, but really you need a Phillips head screwdriver. I mean, you can beat it in there with a shoe, but I mean, ultimately you want the right tool. But so for me, from an investment standpoint, one of the challenges that I have when I meet with my clients and talk to them and try to solve these financial problems is, okay, do we need income now? Are you at the point in your life where you need your investments to provide you with an income stream? And we do an awful lot of that. We send an awful lot of money out on a monthly basis to our clients in the form of an income stream. I mean, we direct deposit that money in their checking account so they can pay their bills. We send checks out. I mean, we do a tremendous amount of that. But we also have our folks that hold the growth assets so that they can, accumulate wealth, and we're in the growth mode. So one of the things we use a lot of income producing investments, whether it's, what we call growth and income type investments, whereby maybe it's a stock that's designed to provide that income to our clients. Maybe it pays a nice dividend currently, but it's not expected to grow quite so much. Or maybe it's a real estate investment where we hope to get some growth, and at the same time, we're going to let the rent go through. We've got some really nice real estate investments right now that are, they're doing very well. For people who are retired, they pay a really nice cash flow, and there's some tax advantages too. I mean, if I told you, look, this investment's yielding you about a 6% cash flow, paying you on a monthly basis, and about half that's only going to be taxable. I mean, that's, if that's a good, safe, reasonable investment, there's a lot of people who might be interested in that. So these are the type things that we're always looking for. I mean, we go out, find, and make available to our clients the best quality investments we can find, and we try to use the right tools out of that toolkit. So.
Okay, so I'm so glad you mentioned that. So, the buzzwords that are out there is cash flow. So you hit that. You can use stocks. You can use real estate. So you actually have tools that people can invest in real estate in the hot markets. Again, they may not necessarily be in the hometown that these people live in, but if I wanted to invest, and I'm just using Charlotte, who knows Charlotte or Yulee, Florida, or Jacksonville, Florida, or some beach town that's booming in Florida, you have vehicles that will allow me to invest in real estate in those places and take advantage of cash flow from that and the appreciation that those properties will be more likely to have in those areas than in some areas, right?
Well, economics 101 is about supply and demand. And if you're in Austin, Texas, and you've got a upper middle class type of apartment property, then the chances of you being able to do two things: one, increase your rent via cash flow to my clients, and probably you're going to have some appreciation. But I've got one particular offering right now that we really like, and they concentrate in Raleigh, Durham, Asheville, Nashville, Austin, Texas, the parts of Jacksonville that are doing well, North Atlanta. I mean, you got to figure, I mean, it's not rocket science really. You figure out where people are moving so that you have an increase of demand, positive demographics. At the same time, so yeah, my clients, hopefully, with some of their investment portfolio, can get some appreciation. Okay, because it's all about cash flow in the world, and ultimately sooner or later, and then and get a rising rent. I mean, the nice thing about and the other thing, you're not talking about rental property where folks, these are young professionals, sometimes older professionals, folks who have good jobs that are available. They're vetted. They have credit check. I mean, you see where I'm going with that. I mean, and if they don't want to pay the rent, there's a bunch of folks moving to town that are anxious to pay the rent. So I'm you got to have good quality facilities for that, where they there's things that they know. So there's companies that have been doing that for a long time, and so that's some of the things that we do here, is give our clients an opportunity to participate in those high quality, hopefully appreciating properties in places where there's positive demographic trends.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Then that answers my question for sure, because so many people out there, are following um, a bunch of podcasts, but there's a lot of advice out there, and they're touting the um, the income producing real estate and cash flow and those things. So I'm very excited to know that you have some tools that would be a safe bet on that. Now I want to ask you a personal question. I mean, personal about me. I have a business. I'm teetering around the 40 employees. There's some benefits to staying below 50. And, I've got an insurance person I'm working with that. That I have a SEP, and so we're looking at maybe offering a 401, switching to a 401k, just having something to help my employees. So here's my question. Now, this is something I was going to call you and ask you personally, but let's do it publicly right here and see if we can help someone else. I'm very interested in investing back into my business. Okay. You and I've talked about, you've set me up where I have, I'm maxing out my retirement because, and here's why and this is what Russ taught me is, Billy, you're in a high income tax bracket right now. If you don't max out this retirement, then you're going to pay 42% income tax. Whereas we can slide it over here to your retirement, and anytime after 59 and a half, you can take it out. And based on what your income level is, then a lot of times we can reduce our income at that point because we've already built our wealth in other areas. These are things I learned from Russ. Then I can take that money out at a much lower tax bracket. So I'm already doing that. I'm maxing out my personal retirement, but I want to, this business, DigiNinja, has been very good to me. And I want to make sure that I put as much capital and as much investment back into the business. Now, you can only do so much. You can only buy the building that you work out of once. You only need to renovate it once. I mean, we're doing that right now with a new studio and things like that. So what do I need to be focusing on so that I can invest back into my business and hopefully help my employees at the same time?
Well, your people are probably your most precious capital in that business, and I know you and I have talked about it, and we're exploring ways right now to try to help maximize their time spent down at your business, and I think that's a wise thing. It's sort of like, from the investments, I look at it, you sort of flip it over. If I think there's a lot of folks out there that talk about, like Dave Ramsey talks about debt reduction. He's got some real good strategies and ideas about that. Okay. One of the things he talks about is you don't, in other words, you pay off the most expensive debt that you have. You figure out which debt that you hold is costing you the most. In other words, if I owe 8 people, which one's charging me the most interest? Mm-hmm. I mean, from a standpoint of priority, you got to prioritize what you're trying to do and pay the one off that's paying you costing you the most. I mean, I think that's just sort of, debt reduction 101. I would argue the same is true on the other side. Okay, the antithesis is true. That's a big word. Mm-hmm. But if you look and you figure, well, okay, so which opportunity do I have as I got some cash flow coming in? Okay, mm-hmm. Where is this money going to be best invested? Now, if your business is providing you with your best rate of return from a net return standpoint, then we need to try and maximize that as much as possible. So you see where I'm going. You pay off the most expensive debt first, and you go from there. And when you invest your money back, you figure, okay, well, what's going to pay me the most money? What's going to give me the best bang for my buck? And I think that's your answer. If it's in your people, then let's make it in our people as much as we can. And then look at the other investments that are available to us. And just, it's like anything else. You prioritize, you put together a strategy, you initiate a plan of action, and you review it and update regularly. One of the things that my clients, I think, get confused about sometimes, they say, well, if I do business with Russ, then, once he gets through with me, look, this is a fluid situation. Things change. And most of my clients, I got clients been with me for 25 years. Okay. It doesn't mean I come over and eat dinner with them every night, but what it does mean is that we can adapt together and work together to try and always be ahead of the curve, whatever that curve may be. Does that make sense at all?
It makes so much sense. I actually want to get some clarification on things, because I think you kind of laid out a plan there that I'd like to highlight, because we can say a lot during an hour, and I don't want people to miss some of the golden nuggets that I think I just heard. I believe you laid out a plan right there, something about getting started, something about a plan of action or strategy, and then update regularly. Didn't I hear like a bullet point there?
You did. Let me clarify that a little bit. I mean, first thing you need to do is you need to set goals. Okay.
Thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up.
And you had a guy on the other day. I thought it was brilliant. He said, instead of monthly goals, you remember the guy talking about set the weekly goals?
Yes.
I got, things are, wow. Every time I watch one of Billy's podcasts, it's always good stuff. So, I'm not sure that I'm worthy, but I appreciate you having me on. First thing you got to do is set goals. Okay. You got to set goals, sit down, write them down on a piece of paper. You got to prioritize those goals, because we can't actually, do everything at once. One of the challenges that I have a lot of times, people come in and sit down with me. Okay, Russ, bing, 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 bing. I want to do this. I need to make sure I got a wheel. I got to do this. What about this? What about that? We got to kind of set our goals and write them all down. And then we got to prioritize those goals. Just like I talked about the debt on the other side, you prioritize which one's the most important and which one's kicking you the hardest, and you address that issue and you attack it. And I think that's what we do on the investment side as well. We determine so set goals, prioritize those goals. And this is where so many people fall short. You got to initiate a plan of action. Number 3. And then with my help, my clients or whoever you may be using, but you got to review and update regularly, because things change. You got to turn around and look and say, okay, this is where we thought we'd be at this point. Where are we now? If we're not where we thought we would be, what do we need to do to make changes, to adjust, to adapt? Because ultimately we got our goals set, we got them prioritized. Initiate a plan of action, review and update regularly. So I think if you do that, and if you look, the sad fact is, to be financially successful out here, the odds are against us. Yeah. And we can better educate, better prepare. If we make this something that we're pretty passionate, adamant, and we work hard toward, I believe the opportunity is out here for all of us in this great country of ours.
Russ, I want to tie this into our everyday to our everyday life here at DigiNinja. I'm gonna point out something about what you said there. First, I'm gonna review it. First, you need goals. You got to sit down and write your goals. You got to set goals. You have to prioritize your goals. You have to initiate a plan of action. Okay, that's a big time action word there. And then you have to review and update regularly. Okay, every one of those is an action. There prioritize. You're actually taking action. You have to use your brain to figure out what's most important. Setting goals, sit down and write them out. That's action. Revise and update. Didn't say just look at it. Said revise and update. All 4 of those steps takes action. So what sets up, I like to talk about the 1%ers, or maybe the 3%ers, because you said 3 people may be able to handle
financially successful, perhaps.
Okay, so I want to at least be that 3%. I want to be the 1/10 of 1%. But if you at least need to be in the 3%, and so those people in the 3% take action, and it sounds like a lot of action.
And look, one of the things that we do, we'll sit down, and once we set those goals, prioritize them, and then we work toward them. And life throws you curveballs. Things change. We all have to live, but ultimately, we look at what our goals are. We determine, and we make adjustments. We change our strategy perhaps when it's needed. And it's yeah, but that's all part of planning, and I think that whether you look, I have folks that I do my investments for myself, and I understand that, and that's good. I think as long as you got your money working and you've got a strategy and it works for you, that's great. But I got to tell you, I need other help. I need coaches. I need advisors. I've been doing this 26 years. I get up every day and I try to help folks solve tough financial problems. We try to help our clients get a better return on their money because it's either you working or it's your money at work. Okay, that's really what it's all about. You get enough money, get enough hay in the barn, guess what? You don't have to work so much. You don't have to work any at all if you got enough income coming in. You got the assets that are generating the revenue and the income, then that's, in my opinion, that's called retirement. Okay, that's true success. But at the end of the day, you look, even the smartest guys out there, the best ball players that I know, Michael Jordan had a coach till the day he retired. And I think it makes sense for all of us to reach out and get as much input. Look, you know what? I don't know anything about the car business. Bill's an expert. Okay. I know what I know, and I know what I don't do well. Okay. And I hope that I never mislead or am perceived as being the guy who can wrap around, everything but what we do, I think we do about as good as can be done. We work very hard and we're passionate and we care about our clients very much.
Here's the bottom line. We all have a job and we all, if we're in business, we better be an expert at something. I am a sales expert. I'm a marketing expert. I'm becoming a software expert with all this, investment that I've made into DigiNinja. And you are a financial expert, a financial advisor. And I want to warn anybody who wants to do their own financial planning, unless you're an expert. And absolutely, I'm great at making money. I can make it. I can train people. I can coach people on how to make money. But when that income's coming in, you better have an expert helping you decide where to allocate those things, because there's so many places you can put your money and make mistakes. So I highly recommend see Russ' story. He's definitely more than qualified. He's an expert in those fields. Now I want to leave with something that's not necessarily fun to think about, but I want you to, we're approaching an hour now, so I can't do a good job to my viewers unless I mention the fact that they better know what happens after they're gone, and if life insurance is a need, a necessity, or something people should care about. And then of course those people who have money, the whole estate planning. Can you help people with that as well, Russ? And this is going to be the last thing, so I'll let you kind of just end with that, and we'll plan on doing it again.
Well, part of the planning process, I think, is very important. We need to try to plan for the future, and unfortunately, the future for all of us, there's going to be a time when we transition from this earth to another place. That's just a fact of life. We've got children. We're going to have, many of us have children. Many of us are going to have grandchildren. And these are things that, and I know that part of the planning process is making sure that we do the best job for them, not necessarily leaving them a bunch of money, but doing the best job for them so that they are best equipped to manage their future. And hopefully, if you're like most folks, most parents, most grandparents, we want to do what? We want to make sure, try to provide that our kids and grandkids are better off than we were. And I think that, certainly is what we should do. But one of the things that we look at in the process, we want to make sure that you've got all your, all your documents in order, whether it's a healthcare directive. They used to be called living wills. Now they're called, in Georgia, it's a Georgia healthcare directive. We want to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row. Maybe a power of attorney. Maybe you need to see an attorney. We'll quarterback. We'll hand off the ball, and we've got some experts in that area that can actually draft documents. And sometimes, depending on your business, depending on your situation, we can help put together and have an attorney put together a trust document and these type things. We use those more and more. So there's a lot of things that you can do, that you need to do, Part of the process with us is when you get done, I hope that you go home at night and sleep well, knowing I've done everything I can to have my ducks in a row, and not necessarily taking action, but at least we've addressed some of these issues. Like, if you're on up in age, we may talk about, well, let's talk about what we're going to do about long-term care insurance. Let's talk about what we're going to do about this, that, and the other. Well, maybe we don't take any action or buy some product to take the risk off of us. Maybe we just address it, make a decision, but at least we know what we've decided, and we've gone through a logical process to determine what it is we need to do and how. Life insurance, nobody likes paying for insurance. Nobody likes paying taxes. But these are things that somehow, some way, many times it's in our best interest to do so. So, we look at all those things and make sure your beneficiaries are right. These are things that we do, services we provide. But, and Billy, if you don't mind, let me give them my contact information.
Absolutely.
You got any questions? Look, it doesn't cost anything to sit down and talk to me first go around anyway. Send me an email, rstory@storywealth.com, or give me a call, 912-384-0030. And we will love to talk to you.
Are you on social media? Can they find you on social media?
Story Wealth. Yep. Find me on Facebook. We're right there. We got, I think, a pretty robust Facebook page. So.
I think so too. Well, Russ, it's been a pleasure, man. We burned through an hour really quickly. I know we covered a lot of information.
We threw a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but guys, you want to go back and start this thing over and watch again. I took notes. I didn't take notes for speaking purposes to help me with to ask the right questions. I took notes because I'm learning. You never stop learning. We're going to bring you an expert every Monday morning. Today, I think it's going to be hard to top. We had Russ Story. Thank you so much, Russ. Tomorrow, we got a big announcement. We have hired a marketing, another expert. We've hired a marketing expert and a performance manager is going to help us take DigiNinja to 3,000 dealerships. That's going to be big. Hey, Russ, are you still with me?
I'm here, buddy. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question. We're talking about goals. I just found out that if I can get DigiNinja in 3,500 dealerships, then I'll be a Fortune 500 company.
Congratulations, Billy.
Now we're not anywhere close to 30. But are you going to be able to help me when we're a Fortune 500 company? My main question is, where are we going to go fishing?
Well, that's a great question. We got a lot of spots, man, but fishing we will do.
All right. Thank you. See you next time, Russ.
See you.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, there you had it. That was an expert, man. It's noontime. It's time to eat something, or maybe you want to jump over and watch. I think the Cardone Zone is coming on Mondays. Grant Cardone goes live every day at 12. I'm every day at 11. Glenn Lundy's every day at about 6 a.m., I think. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Like and share this. If you know somebody needs some financial expertise advice, send Russ Story a friend request. He will accept it. He will answer your questions. You know what? Let's get his email address down in the comments on some of these so we can get Russ's email on there. You guys, you need to be paying an expert to help you with your money. Don't try to do it on your own. You need to be making money. Get somebody else to help you make your money work for you. Tomorrow, Jeremy Newell's coming on. Ooh.